So the project now is to pickle and also put antifreeze in the water maker. The purpose of pickling it is so that nothing grows in it while it's not being used. So we've got these pills that have a chemical in there that you dissolve into the water, and we're also going to put some of the water grade, drinkable grade antifreeze in there. So even though we're going to have a heater on down here in case power goes out, we won't have any problems there. So what I have to do first is I have to heat up the hoses and pull them apart so that I can hook it up to a bucket with 5 gallons of water along with the antifreeze and the pickling solution. But before we do all that, well, I've got part of the tea already in, heated that line up to make it a little easier, got that on. We'll of course put a hose clamp on it, but we need to change the filters out. We got the 20 micron and the 5 micron filter. As you can see, they've been doing their job. It looks kind of gross, but that has not gone into the drinking water and into, most importantly, the membrane. So we want to put clean ones in there, obviously, so we don't get any growth, even though we do have the pickling solution. Nobody said it was all glamour. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these pickling tablets that you get from Seawater Pro. You can get them elsewhere, but they're really inexpensive. They come in a little plastic baggie of pills. You don't want to go through airport with them, I don't think. But I'm going to dissolve it into this bucket of water here, make sure it's completely dissolved. Last time I found it took a while, so I'm going to crunch them up and kind of help it along, make sure it gets in there, and then put in the antifreeze also into my special bucket that's got a hose on it. I also have a hose with a valve over here, and then we're going to run it through the system using the boost pump. 5 of them. Okay. I'm going to crunch them a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. And then I'm going to set up the bucket with the valve and the hose, turn on the boost pump, and run it through until all 5 gallons or 4 or 5 gallons is gone. That means the entire system is it's got the pickling stuff and also the antifreeze. All right, now it's all dissolved. I've put 1 of the gallons of this in here right now. I'll get that started, then I'll pour the other gallon in while it's going. So go here. And there we are. Now we turn on the boost pump, and we're starting to get our solution. You can see going through first now the 20 micron into the 5 micron. It's going to go through all the rest of the system. So I got to throw that other gallon in so we have a decent concentration. Well, that part of that project is done, and you can even see the nice pink hue that the filters have, showing me that, yeah, it's got that stuff all the way into the system. And we have our new bronze tea on, so I feel better about that. And then off to the many next projects.
We have to pull off this dock and move over to the dock where the boat's going to be pulled out, and it is not a great day for this. I'll give you a quick look around. A little windy. And of course it's starting to rain. before. So we are making our way out of Cap Sante Marina. I'm hiding inside from the rain. It's not raining that bad yet. Okay, that went really well. It's a little less windy in here than it was at Cap Sante, and we had some nice neighbors who came out to the dock and helped us with lines, so that was helpful as well. Good job, Captain.
Well, now it's time to get into the real nitty-gritty. Time for the oil changes. 4 gallons an engine, plus the generator. So we're going to dig in all that. Got some buckets ready to go. Got my coveralls on, so I look professional. And got the filters ready, and I'm going to go dig in there. So come on, let's go. All right, so we're down in the engine room in the holy place. So our first thing is going to be to take off that little plug there, and there's a valve there. Nice thing about these engines as compared to the Volvos that were in here previously is that they've got drain valves at the very back. Whereas the Volvos had nothing. The bottom of that pan was smooth. There was nothing there. It wasn't even a drain plug. And you had to get everything out through a vacuum pump through the dipstick. It took forever. And you always felt you never got got everything. So this is nice. So it takes a lot less time. And I just use a drill pump that we hook up right to this little fitting there. And which goes down to that drain, and we pour it down into this bucket. And each engine will take, almost all that 5 gallon bucket. It's 4 gallons of oil. So, gallon an engine is perfect, or sorry, bucket an engine. And so off we go. Let's give it a try. Oh, also, one other thing to note that I highly recommend when you're doing your oil, doing anything that if you were to start the engine, it's going to cause problems. If you have to close the seacock, if I'm just changing the or checking the strainers, I always pull the ignition key out because that makes you stop and think. We always keep our ignition keys in there when everything's ready. So if I were to go to start it, that gives me a little pause. And say, okay, double check, is everything ready? Is the seacock open? Is there oil in the engine? Because I know somebody that did their oil change and forgot they didn't put the oil in and ruined the engine, and well, we don't want that. Yeah, it's not a good feeling at all. So I highly recommend that. Also, the generator, there's a main switch. I turn that off if I'm doing any work on that, so that if I go to start it, it doesn't, start, I stop and go, okay, hold on, is everything ready to go? So try to have a kind of a backup or fail-safe, kind of fail-safe. More like stop and pause and think, double check. So let's start getting that oil out. Going to do the starboard engine first. We've got gloves on and trying to keep most of the oil off of me. I usually am not completely successful with that. Try to be as clean around here as possible and not spill oil, but I usually do at one point or another. It happens every time. It's just my luck. I've had times where everything's been perfect right at the end, and I pick up the bucket and it sloshes a little bit. So that's what the diapers are for, and I bought a whole bunch more. So we're going to get that plug off. So the plug and a valve, because you definitely don't want that thing accidentally getting hit and leaking out, so you got a kind of a double safety on there. Alright, there we go. Put this plug over here with the other stuff. A lot of times I end up running around trying to figure out where I just left something. Alright, screw this onto there. Eventually. There we go. All right, open the valve. And let's see if we don't squirt stuff all over the place. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, we're almost there. Actually, I gotta remember next time to get some hose of this size reinforced, because this one's soft, and especially with a warm oil, it collapses. I could do it a lot faster, but it's still working. But last little bit here. All right, that's everything there. So we close the valve. Make sure we do that, and unscrew it. And I'm gonna put the plug back in, and then we're gonna change the oil filter on here. So on these Cummins QSBs, they put both the fuel filter and the oil filters right up front here of the engine, which in a lot of cases that makes it really easy. Ours are pretty close against the wall, so I kind of have to lean up against here. It's not bad though. You know, if they were going to do them on the side, one side would mean I'd have to get all the way over the top of the engine and so forth. They make it pretty easy to know which is which, even though they look exactly the same physical size. But one says LF for loop filter, and the other one, if you can see over here, FF or fuel filter. We'll get to those later. So we're going to take that off, pour what's in the filter into the bucket. That'll be the last of our oil from there. Put the old one into this gallon bag to try to get the least amount of mess. Also going to fill the fuel filter, the oil filter up with oil, and then you put a little of the clean oil around the gasket to make it so it doesn't grab. Makes a good seal, and so when you're tightening it, you get a good seal. So first things first, get over there. Got our oil filter wrench. So really an oil filter change, given that you can get the oil out in a timely manner like I can with these, doesn't take very long, and save you a lot of money from having someone else do it. They charge you an arm and a leg, of course, and it also gets you in touch with your engines too, which tell anybody that gets a boat, if you don't get some at least satisfaction to working on your boat, don't get a boat, because you're always going to be doing some work on it, and you'll be relying on somebody else and that's not available, or you break down somewhere, and it's something simple. So the more you get hands-on with your boat, also if something goes wrong, you can only blame yourself. That can happen too. Alright, so I'm going to fill in the oil filter. So when she starts up, there's no lack of oil at any given time. And you'll let it kind of soak into the filter some also. I'm using the Kirkland brand. You may say, geez, you got these nice engines and you're using Kirkland. Check this out. They're made by one of the largest lubricated oil companies in the world, and Kirkland doesn't screw around. They don't get crap stuff. I used to get at Costco get the Chevron Delo, but they don't carry it anymore. They carry this, but it meets all the standards for Cummins, so that's really what's important. Everybody can kind of have their own ideas and opinions on one's better than another. I know some people swear by Rotella, but this stuff with the $8 rebate, instant rebate at the checkout stand, was $31.99 or $32 basically for 3 gallons, and yeah, that's hard to say no to. And does the job. All right, we'll put that on. Little boat yoga. Okay, now the somewhat monotonous part of putting the oil in. Again, it takes 4 gallons an engine, 16 quarts. So 4 of these bottles. I won't bore you with all the details of putting it in all that whole time, so just kind of show. Gotta do it kind of slowly. You can sometimes use a funnel to help a little bit, but kind of limited room here. And we just slowly pour it in. If you start going too fast, it starts backing up, but even more so with a funnel. So I find this way okay until a little bit gets drift, but we wipe it up. All right, once we have it all in, I go back and I count the bottles that I used, so I know I've got it all in there. And then of course the final thing is to check the dipstick. I just checked it now, but we'll do it again. And it's right at the full mark, so we're looking good. Yeah, that's one engine done, at least as far as the oil goes. So up to the fuel filters. Now off to the other one. It's just rinse and repeat, so won't bore you with that whole one, but it's the same idea, just the other side of the boat. I've got all the oil now out of the port engine, but ready to do the lube oil filter. You can see it on this side a lot easier on this end right here. There she is. And one thing I want to point out that I found in the other engine to look out for is whether or not the old gasket from the old filter got stuck onto there, which it did on that side. So it's something to look out for, because you don't want a double gasket. You'll have a leak. So that's something to check for. And it looks like it happened on this one also. You see the gasket is gone, and it's sitting right there. I'll get rid of this stuff. I'll show you. Right here. So that's something to watch out for, because you get 2 of those gaskets together, you're going to most likely get a leak, and you don't want that. We have both the engine's new oil in, and the new oil filters. We'll get to the fuel filters on those. That's no big deal. That's just a spin-off. And then also our ray cores. Our next step is the generator. So my first step is to turn it off. So in case try to start it upstairs, it won't start. If I try to start it here, it won't start. Make me stop and think, double check everything, make sure that we have the ability to, we have all the oil in there and all those. So gonna open it up and dig in, so come along for the ride. So with the generator, I have to do the vacuum pump thing. So you pump it up, stick it down the dipstick, and do it that way. It's only 2.6 quarts, so it's not a lot. Supposedly it says that there's a drain tube that you can hook up to, but I haven't found it yet. This one's new to us. We got it just last year. I was going to go dig out the manual and find where it is, but I already had this out, and that's how they did it last year, so I'm going to keep doing that this time. maybe I'll research it a little bit more. And here's with the sound shield off, and then over there I've got the fuel filter and the oil filter that I have to change out. So it's kind of tight in there, so excuse the noise. That's Amy using the sink. She's doing the steam cleaning the carpets, and the water pump is right over there. Alright, I got the old oil filter out. Nice thing on there, they actually say oil right on there, and the fuel one says gas oil. So, yeah, diesel. So, I'm going to put a little oil. This one we can't, it's horizontal, so we can't pre-fill it, which is, I don't know why they do that. Diesel one's vertical, so we can do that. Less priming time, but I'm gonna put oil on there and a screw, and then I gotta reach in there, put it on. It's right here. It's not bad, but can't be right in front of it because the engine is in the way. So put those on, put oil in. We should be ready on that one. The main engines already have oil. Their filters, going to do their fuel filters, and after that we should be ready to roll. Oh, by the way, it actually says diesel on here too, so that helps. So yeah, it's just kind of awkward to get in here. Getting this red is the hardest part. Now that it's in, hand tighten it, and then I'll take the wrench and get the fuel filter one off, and I'm going to pour that fuel into this one so that it doesn't take much to prime, and we should be ready to go once I put the oil in here. We gotta remember to do that always. Okay, so we time to put the oil in. We got the oil filter on, fuel filter in, and I'm going to put the oil in. And once we get to the correct level, this one takes 2.6 quarts, so very little engine. So then once we got that in there, we'll check the level, make sure the level's correct, and then we'll give it a test start. I'll have to let that settle down. Has to go through all the passageways, past the head, or the head, and down through the passageways down to the oil pan. Give that a few minutes, and we'll check the level on the dipstick. And here's our itty bitty dipstick. And there's the low, there's the high. Now there's not going to be anything in the oil filter because it hasn't pushed up into there yet. It has to run to do that in this design. So once we get into that we're not at the low level, we'll have to run it and check it again. So hard to see with clean oil. And it looks like we are right around halfway. So I'm going to test run it just a little bit. It may take a while to prime. That doesn't self-prime. If it doesn't start, there's actually a way to in the software here to force a prime. That's the priming. Okay, so Gonna stop, let it settle, and we'll check it again. All right, let's check it again. That is right around halfway, so I'm just going to add a little bit more, check it one more time, and I think we're going to be good on that. Just a few other little checks, a little cleanup, but that one has been oil change and fuel filter change. I still have to do the ray cores. They are over here, and those are simply just pull them right out of the top and replace. Of course, always look at the bottom of the bowls to make sure there's no water or sediment, but they've been really good. They've been very clean, so I think we're getting really clean fuel. It's almost always been fueled up here in the life of these engines in Cap Sandy Marina, and they do a lot of business, so they get a lot of throughput, so not a lot of dirt should accumulate or water and that kind of stuff. They do a lot of commercial boats and such also, so they move some stuff. So we'll go from here. Might be hard to hear, but the final part of the job is to let it run, take a look at it, make sure nothing's leaking. Does that for a while, cool it down, check the levels one more time, and then when we come back next year we should be ready to go. Always check it before ahead of time. You never know what's going to happen. Hopefully nothing. Now it's time for the main engine's fuel filters. FF for fuel filter. What says here anywhere else? No. The FF, you gotta know what it is, and just comes off. It's the same exact size, looks the same as the oil filter. So I really try to double check to make sure I'm doing the right one. And we're going to take this one off the wrench. And these also have a center gasket in here. Yeah, that one looks fine, but they give you new ones. Might as well use it. That where to go? Wrong pocket. Right there. That center one goes up on the, I guess you call it the nipple, on there, and we put that on, and we should be good to go. Okay, we got all that in. Haven't started them yet, but we'll do that, and then also check, for leaks and all that kind of stuff. I am going to do the zincs. I've got 2 for the aftercoolers and 1 for the heat exchanger. So I checked a couple of them just randomly last night. The bottom ones here are gone. They're always in water. This one still had quite a bit left, but I'm going to change it anyways. And the heat exchanger ones were okay, but they're still doing their job, but they're going to get brand new ones. So I'm going to do that now. Okay. This one had a little bit left. Took it out last night, and I'm going to put a new one in there. Cheaper if you can still use the old one if it's not corroded. Also, don't forget to take the paper off of this. So I'm going to do that, put these in, and then we should be good to test the engines and make sure nothing's leaking. Got quite a bit left, but I'm going to change it anyways, and they're cheap. You buy something that
it's going to be, well, the sacrificial anode, and that's, it truly is. So, a lot cheaper than what's inside that it's protecting.
We are rewarding ourselves for the boat work today with one of our favorite restaurants, A-Town Bistro, which we've been going to now for 10 years.
Yep.
This time, 10 years. So it's a really great place.
We used to do an anniversary trip here, but we're going home early.
And a cool thing we just saw was 3 deer in the middle of the street here.
And the town is
commercial.
packed.
Yeah.
There's
A motorcycle oyster run.
Yeah.
So, yep. The Anacortes Oyster Run is a really unique event in that it's completely free, has no published start times, no route to take. It's just a bunch of people getting together on their motorcycles. And there's food vendors and other type of merchandise vendors there. But we had our eyes set on our favorite restaurant, the A-Town Bistro. Happy?
I'm happy. Look at it, it's so good. We just had a bite of his shrimp teriyaki.
Squid.
It's squid. Oh, I said
shrimp.
shrimp.
You said shrimp, yes.
You're right. Squid. Basically, it's calamari, but with a fancy name. And then they did a squid ink aioli, and it's really good.
It is good.
I haven't tried my salad yet.
Very
it has
tender.
Macerated figs and almonds and like blue cheese and yeah, it's gonna be good.
Okay, so this is the always the piece de resistance, I guess you'd say.
Oh my god.
And it's the clam chowder. Oh, and here comes mine. There we go.
For now.
I think so.
See you at
Cool.
dessert. Okay, thanks.
So this is what, it's not the typical clam chowder that you would normally get at some seaside place. Those are real clams.
Clams, it's real cream, no flour, and they basically have to sign a non-disclosure agreement.
They will not give the recipe away. Nope. So we're going to dig in.
I'm not waiting for you.
So this is the kind of place it is. You get up and go to the bathroom, and you come back, and they fold your napkin for you.
You're a messy guy. People feel like they have to fold stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all a ploy.
I know, 'cause if
4-minute timer in the middle there.
okay, thank you.
So explain it.
It's a French press.
I don't know.
To explain.
I don't know. A lot of people be like me. It's like, I don't know, you put it in the Mr. Coffee.
All right, we're looking at the 4-minute timer, and when the timer runs up, we're going to push this down, and that pushes all the grinds to the bottom, and it'll leave the delicious coffee at the top. So Mike was impressed by the napkin. I'm impressed that when they bring the coffee cups out, they're warm. And it's not just because they came out of the dishwasher. They do this every time. It's fantastic.
Where are we at with them? We're getting there.
You want to watch it?
Well, you gotta wait till it all goes through.
TikTok. Can I go?
Almost. Okay, you can go now. Hey.
What do you want? Let's go.
All right. What is for dessert?
It's a nectarine galette with frangipan, I think, and homemade vanilla ice cream. And I'm going to find out what it tastes like right now.
Okay. Good? Right. I'm putting the camera down. It's my turn. So day number 2 of the boat work day, end of the season stuff. So got a bunch of stuff done. Didn't film it yet. But you know, went through the generator, checked the impeller on there. That looks good. Put the antifreeze, the pink stuff, ran that through the generator. Yesterday we put in the kind of a homemade salt away, some boat soap and vinegar and water. Ran that into each of the engines, let it sit overnight, and we're going to start them up and let those, you know, make sure everything's good there. Change the Raycor fuel filters. Amy cleaned the barbecue, or was cleaning the barbecue, and we pulled all the chain out and marking all the chain with paint, make it a little easier to see, and then we're also going to put the zip ties back on there. I don't know if you remember, probably episode number 2, we talked about the zip ties on there, the 4 different colors, Bragi, B-R-G-Y, for every 25 feet. So, and we measured, make sure the 25 feet was correct. That was good. So spot on the first time we did that, or whenever that was. What else? Changed all the zincs. Had to get some more of those. So all 6 zincs on the engine, as far as the heat exchangers and the aftercoolers. And yeah, that's it. Let's go take a look and see what Amy's doing.
So we just had a guy come out and give us a quote, or look at our project to give us a quote on upholstery. I think we talked about this before. There's a couple places in our upholstery that got damaged when the boat was in charter, and we're looking to get that fixed. So yeah, I'll give you a look at the. This was supposedly repaired, and I am not satisfied with the repair. But now there's a break in the weather, so I'm going to go take advantage of that and remark the anchor chain with some spray paint and some zip ties so that we can see every 25 feet so that we have a, you know, it's worn out over the years, so it needs to be redone. So that's what I'm about to do. So we paid out the anchor chain, and now I'm going to go ahead and measure with an actual measuring tape, because I think Mike just used his feet when he did it before. And then I will mark the chain with blue, red, green, and yellow. It's some dumb system that Mike chose based on what they use for the Brad route, and he expected everyone to remember it. So that's what we're stuck with. First measurement was spot on, so I'm guessing that Mike actually did use a measuring tape. I'm impressed.
Bailey is supervising. Here we have the chain all out, marked in the 4 different colors. Are you having fun?
It's awesome. I would have shown my cleaning of the barbecue, but I think most people would make comments below saying, get a new barbecue.
Get a new barbecue. Actually, it's looking, the outside is looking pretty good, so yeah. That's a 10-year-old barbecue. It's done us well. There she is. Gets hauled out tomorrow. Then we'll do some last-minute stuff after she's out on the hard. You know, we'll check out the bottom and all that. Get all our stuff off and put her away for the season.
It started to rain earlier than predicted, so hopefully my paint on the anchor chain dries. But I covered it with some plastic bags, so at least it's not going to, you know, wash directly off. It should be okay. In the meantime, I am going to replace some screens for our portholes, and basically they are just these screens that look like this. Really simple job. It's just a plastic form, and I need to cut some screen material to the right size and glue it to the form. So that's what I'm going to do while it rains. Why is it that whenever I have to rent a steam cleaner to do the carpets on the boat, it's pouring rain or snowing? Although I guess I know the answer. We're doing this work at the end of the season and we're in the Pacific Northwest, so it's probably always raining. I'm grateful that at least it wasn't a icy steep ramp this time. So here we go, carpet work. So I'm going back to Safeway because they sold me an additive, not actual soap for the carpet cleaning machine. But that seems like the nature of boat work, where you're making 5 trips to the store before you get the job done. So back to the store I go. Forget Mike and the engine room. This is where the real action is. I mean, what could be more fun than getting on your hands and knees and steam cleaning a carpet? The dog is very suspicious of the process. What do you think, Bailey?